All right, let's talk about something that pretty much all of us do, scrolling through social media. But what if I told you that quiet habit, that silent scrolling, isn't a weakness, but actually a sign of some serious hidden cognitive strengths?
So let me ask you, does this sound like you? You're on your phone, you're endlessly scrolling through your feeds, you see what everyone's up to, but you almost never post anything yourself. If you're nodding along right now, stick around. This is for you.
So here's the plan. First, we're going to bust the myth of the lurker. Then we'll dive into the first two big strengths, observation and internal worth. After that, we'll get into efficiency and what it means to be truly present. And we'll wrap it all up by showing you why your silence is, without a doubt, a strength.
Okay, let's just get right into it and tackle this big misconception. We live in this world where if you're not shouting online, people think you're not engaged. The silent scroller gets a bad rap. But what if that whole idea is just completely backward?
Yeah, the common assumption is that if you're just scrolling, you must be socially withdrawn, maybe a little insecure, or just, not really paying attention. But the reality is so much more interesting. It often means you're actually highly observant, you're reflective, and your brain is working overtime. You're deeply cognitively engaged.
And there's actually a term for this, and it's not lurking. It's called observational engagement. And listen, this is not a passive thing. It's an active cognitive choice. You're choosing to process what you see internally, to really mull it over, instead of just firing off an impulsive reaction. So the key takeaway here, it is a different way of engagement, not a lack of engagement. Big difference. Okay, so now that we've kind of flipped the script on this whole idea, let's talk about what this actually looks like. How does this translate into real, actual strengths? Let's jump into the first two big advantages.
All right, strength number one. This is all about what's really happening in your brain while you're scrolling. Think about it. While everyone else is busy broadcasting their lives, your brain is in the background quietly connecting the dots. It's pattern matching. You're not just seeing a vacation photo. You're picking up on subtle shifts in how people talk, their social dynamics, their patterns of behavior over time. You're gathering this incredibly rich data because you're not distracted by having to perform yourself. And this skill, it's huge offline. It's what helps you read the room in a meeting or sense when a friend isn't really okay, even when they say they are.
The famous cognitive psychologist Daniel Kahneman actually has a name for this. He calls it slow thinking. And he's clear. This is not a bug, it's a feature. It's a very deliberate strategy your brain is using to go for accuracy and deep understanding, not just a knee-jerk reaction.
Okay, that leads us perfectly into the second strength, and this one is huge. It's all about where you get your sense of self-worth.
When you're not constantly posting and looking for that hit of validation, you naturally develop what psychologists call an internal locus of evaluation. It sounds complicated, but it's simple. It's like having an internal compass for your own value. Your sense of who you are, your worth, it comes from inside you, not from the totally unpredictable roller coaster of likes, shares, and comments.
Let's be real. Posting online is basically like playing in a neurological casino. You pull the lever, you post something, and you wait. Will you get a flood of likes or crickets? That random reward system is super addictive to our brains, and honestly, it's exhausting. By being a silent observer, you've pretty much just decided to walk out of the casino. You're not playing that game. And the payoff for walking away from that table is massive. Just look at this. When you seek validation externally, your emotional state is all over the place, right? Up and down. But for the silent observers, those with that internal compass, things are so much more stable. Your peace of mind isn't at the mercy of some algorithm. So, when you're not riding that emotional roller coaster, guess what happens? You free up a ton of mental energy. And that brings us perfectly to our last two strengths, which are all about efficiency and how you actually experience your life. Okay, strength number 3, this is a big one, cognitive efficiency. I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about all the work that goes into just one post? First, you got to find the perfect photo. Then you have to write a caption that's clever but not trying too hard. Then the hashtags, the best time to post. And after all that, you're glued to your phone monitoring every like and comment. It's a whole storm of tiny, exhausting decisions. It's the definition of decision fatigue. By simply not participating in that cycle, you're making a brilliant strategic move. You're protecting your brain power, your focus, your creativity, all that good stuff. And you're saving it for what actually matters, for solving real problems, for doing deep work, or, and this is a big one, for just being present in your own life.
And that idea of being present, it leads us right to our fourth and final strength. And honestly, this one might be the most important one of all.
There was this sociologist, Irving Goffman, who had this great idea of the front stage versus the backstage self. Social media is the ultimate front stage. It's a performance, right? It's curated. It's what you want the audience to see. But your backstage self, that's the real you. It's complex, it's authentic, it's messy. By not feeling the pressure to post all the time, you're protecting that backstage self. You get to just live your experiences, forming these rich, unedited memories of how things actually felt, not just how they looked in a picture.
So let's pull all this together. What does this all mean for you, the person who scrolls but doesn't post? It means that habit you might have worried about, it's not a flaw. Far from it. It's a powerful, intelligent choice you're making in a world that is just so incredibly noisy.
So let's do a quick recap of your superpowers. You've got advanced observational skills. You have a rock-solid internal validation system. You're a master of preserving your mental energy. And you have the rare ability to be genuinely present. These are serious assets. So the next time you feel that little pang of guilt, that pressure to be more visible online, just remember this. Your quiet scrolling is not weakness. It's the sign of someone who is emotionally stable, incredibly observant, and knows exactly who they are from the inside out. And I'll leave you with this. We live in this digital world that screams at us that being seen is the same as being valuable. It's not true. In a world like that, your silence isn't emptiness. It's depth.